I would say that as a pastor, I love everything. I love teaching, I love weddings, I love baptisms, I even love board meetings. In college, I wanted to be a surgeon, but halfway through, God spoke to me about being a pastor. And so I switched from chemistry to Bible. Everything I did as a pastor, I felt I was doing what God called me to do. I knew that ALS would force me to quit. And I knew ultimately it would take my voice. So I told God, if you take my voice, it's okay with me. I ended up continuing as a pastor for 5 years. And the head of the clinic where I went told me, look, you need to quit as soon as possible. So I came back that weekend and announced I was quitting. It felt like all of a sudden life had come to an end. Life was over. It's going from 100 miles an hour to 0 overnight. I had a cell phone, and I kept saying, I'm going to go throw it in the Grand River because it rings constantly. And the day after, it didn't ring all day. And I ended up calling Lorna to have her call me to make sure it worked. It worked, but nobody called. When you're not needed, you lose part of your purpose in life. I think it hit me the day after when I came out to my office to study. And normally, every Monday I would open the books and prepare for the next Sunday. And that day, I had nothing to do. No books to open, no passage to study, nowhere to preach. I felt lost. I think I'd lost my identity.
My prayer, and I hope your prayer for me, will be that it will stay in one limb, or that God will choose to reverse the process.
Since I was no longer a pastor, I wasn't obligated to live within any boundaries. Eventually, I settled on the idea of trying to live like Jesus. So I went to the synagogue, ate kosher, observed all the feasts and festivals. I tried to think like Jesus. I simply intended to try it for 1 year.
From the bars to the polls, this Jesus follower brought controversy to a national level.
Jesus was accused of being a glutton and a drunkard.
Right.
That year, I found a compelling purpose that help me get up every day. The paradox is that for me the purpose was following Jesus, which I'd been trying to do all my life. Previously, I never had time to do it. I was so busy preaching, leading, serving, working. I tried, but not to that extent. I never thought that my speaking and writing and living would come to an end. Once I realized it's getting close to the end, then you begin to realize how fragile life is, and you only do the things that are important. I think humans have this capacity to think they'll live forever. You ain't living forever. So what can I do with the limited time I have to make a difference? When God created the world, He placed Adam and Eve in the garden and said, take care of it. And the verb translated to take care is also translated as worship. So part of the way we worship God is by serving and taking care of the garden. My garden today is meeting with individual people and helping them in their journey.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, take care.
All right.
Good to see you. When I was at Calvary, I preached to thousands of people every week. Today, it's one-on-one primarily. And my struggle is, you would think that influencing thousands is more important than influencing one. But I'm gradually learning that influence one-on-one is way more important. ALS forced me into a situation where I grew in understanding what it meant to obey Jesus. It took me quite a while to find an alternative purpose. But the good news is, out there is a purpose for everyone. And when you arrive there, you'll know it.